Hey guys, it's Carrie Tetsu here, and this video is going to focus primarily on becoming an affiliate. I want to talk about how affiliates log into the website, how they are able to upload their textures to a website, how right now certain information that they need to provide to us to become affiliates. Also, for launch, affiliates can only make textures. We're not going to allow meshes created yet. That may be an option in the future, but not for initial launch. So please know this is completely new. This technology is new. So we are starting with textures. So on my screen, you can see an example of an affiliate. I actually am and also an affiliate because I make textures for the texture HUD. So anyway, if you look here, my brand name is Zooby. My username is Carrie. User key means this is my avatar key in Second Life. Everybody has one. The large image represents the icon that is going to represent my store. So it's my store logo essentially. And the filter image is just the name of my store. There will also be an email address and a password that every affiliate must have to log into the website. So once the affiliate provides me an email they want to use, I can give them a special password to log into the affiliate website. There's a store message here. We don't have to include this. We may not. Once this is set up, I or anyone who works for Zooby can set this status to be active. So one thing, for example, I'd like to show you is this is our store affiliate store logo. Everybody will have their own. If you're an affiliate and you sell something, you would need to provide us your store logo. Now it has to be a square, and I would not make it more than 512 by 512, preferably 256 by 256 pixels. So anyway, once we have that logo from you, and once you are we have your email and we assign you a password, we set your brand up. And then you'll have access to our site. So let me log out. So here I will log in with my username and password. Affiliates will have their own that we set up on the admin site. So here there's a list for new texture set, texture sets, categories, sales, and top sellers. So I'm going to run through this in a little bit. I first want to show you guys how to actually create a texture for an existing mesh that we sell, and then I'll explain to you how to upload that texture to the website and basically turn it on and preview it in the texture HUD. So I'll do that next, and then we'll come back to logging into this website. Hey guys, so I'm back in Second Life now, and this next step is to show you how we apply textures to a mesh, how a mesh can consist of various faces, how we upload the textures, and actually change them in Second Life and test them. This is the next step. There are other steps after this, which will include uploading our textures to our website, but that will be after this. So when you get a kit, each kit will have its own unique mesh. This particular kit will just be for the hoodie. So if we click the hoodie, let's zoom in here. So right now, if I select the pocket, you could see this says faces 1. If I select the body, this says faces 0. What this means is that this mesh has two different faces. Those faces are basically two different textures that can be applied to them. So for example, if I open this, the pocket texture looks like this, and the body texture looks like this. When you get your kit, you're going to be getting these textures. In addition to that, you're going to be getting UV map textures. So one looks like this, and then one looks like this. So if we go back, you can actually see there's a really nice grid on here that allows you to texture. So in addition to this, one thing that some texture artists use are the actual native OBJ files from 3D software, and they texture directly on the model. Not everybody does. Some people just texture in Photoshop and they don't need the OBJ file. Now, we can't include the OBJ file in the kit in Second Life because Second Life doesn't allow us to upload an OBJ file and deliver it to you. However, I can email affiliates who are interested the native OBJ file. We just want to say that we don't want those files redistributed for free because of potential exploits. But I do understand that for some texture artists, an OBJ file is much easier to texture on. But also, it's not necessary always. So I'm just going to show you texturing without it inside Second Life. So here we have the UV map. Now, if we go over here, you can see this particular hoodie has actually been textured with textures. So if I select this, you can see it has that texture on it, and that's faces 0. And if I select this, it has that texture on it, and that's faces 1. So let's assume now that I want to add a little heart to this pocket. So I go into Photoshop. Here I am in Photoshop. I take a heart. Now, you don't have to use Photoshop. You can use any kind of image editing software. It doesn't have to be. I'm actually using a very old version of Photoshop. I have the latest one, but I'm just not using it now. So here's a heart on my pocket. I'm going to flatten this, and now I'm going to save it on my desktop. I already saved one, so I'm just going to resave it, and it's called hoodie_hood heart. Save, replace. Okay, and I saved it as a PNG file. So now if I go back into Second Life, let's say that I want to preview this on my mesh. I select face. I select faces 1 because that's the face that has the pocket. I go into local because I'm not going to upload a mesh basic. I'm not going to upload a texture until I know it actually looks good. So here my heart is slightly to the right. So let's say I want it to be a little bit more to the center. And that's why I actually didn't upload the texture officially yet. So I want to move it a little bit more to the zipper. So I'm going to actually do that by just going into Photoshop, modifying it, flattening, resaving. Now if we go back into Second Life, you could see my heart is slightly more centered. So let's say I like that. I'm happy with this. I like the heart. This is a texture that I ultimately want to sell. Let's just say that. So I go into Build, Upload Image. I find the texture that has to be applied on that face. I upload it, and now it's in my inventory. So now, if I go here, I make sure I select face. Let's close this. And I go to inventory and I search for that. I had uploaded another one before to test it, so that's why there are 2. I select it and I say OK. So now I still have a texture that represents the main body, and I have a new texture that represents this little pocket area, because there are 2 faces to this mesh, which means it requires 2 textures. So the next step I'm going to show you is actually how to upload those textures to the website so they can appear in our texture HUD. So if we go to our texture HUD right now, you can see that these are hoodies textures that I'm selling. And one thing is that you will also, as an affiliate, need to create a display graphic so the customer knows what they are buying. And that should be generally around 512 by 512 or smaller. Otherwise, it will take forever for these graphics to load. And in addition to the display graphic, you're also going to need to upload the textures that are applied to the mesh. So in this case, you'll need 3 textures: the display graphic, the texture that applies to this one face, and the texture that applies to the other face. So next step is uploading these textures to the website. Hey guys, so I'm still in Second Life because I wanted to show you one more thing before we went and uploaded the textures to our website. So if you look over here, I have actually called Jenna to the closet. So here she is. I'm actually going to detach this so you could see. So right now, if I swap different outfits, I can see that here's the hoodie. I click on it and she's going to wear a hoodie. She actually has socks on. I can remove those. I can click remove and I can remove long socks and I can stop my dressing. So here she is. She's wearing the hoodie and there are no textures applied to it. Let me tell her to sit. So there she is. She has the hoodie on. So right now, if I'd like to apply a texture to the hoodie that I'm currently selling, I can basically click this and it is already connected to Jenna and it applies this pink hoodie to her. Now remember, we were working on a purple one. She still wants to crawl away. Sit down. So we were working on a purple one with a heart. So the next step again is to upload a texture to the website and have it display here with my other textures. So now let's go back into Photoshop. I had talked about the display graphic. So here is the display graphic. My display graphic is 256 by 256. Again, I do not make them too large. If you keep them small, then it actually makes the texture loading for people who want to view your textures much faster. So anyway, that's what this is. I'm now going to upload this texture to Second Life, just like I uploaded the faces that the textures that apply to the faces on the mesh. I say build, upload image. I select it. I'm calling it HUD Hoodie Solid 01 Heart. Say OK, because that's the display graphic I want to appear on the HUD, and this one has the heart on it. So here it is. And then my other texture I had uploaded earlier is here. And then I have the body texture in a different folder. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you the website. So if we go here, let me just log out. So here I am. I'm going to log in. Remember, it's the username and password that you'll have as an affiliate. You could now look new texture set, texture sets, categories, sales, and top sellers. So I'm going to click on new texture set. So here you can see these represent all the different meshes that we're going to launch with. So as time goes on, we'll have many more meshes, but this is for initial launch. So if I go into full body hoodies, now again, this is what all affiliates will have access to. Here I can set the name and let's just call this Zooby Hoodie Purple Heart. Now here is the HUD Display Image UUID. Now that's the actual display graphic that will appear to people when they decide to buy it. There will also be a minimum price. This way another affiliate cannot come in and undercut you and sell their hoodies for 5 linden when you spent 5 hours making your hoodie perfect and want to sell it for a specific price. So we've actually determined minimum prices for these. Once Also, one thing I want to say is that affiliates may want to have sales. They may not want to be stuck with a minimum price. And that's something we're in the middle of developing. We may not have that ready for launch, but we know that's something that we think is important to affiliates so they can control when, offer sales to their customers and have a little bit more control over what they're selling. One thing too is that affiliates can see sales, so they can actually keep track of who bought their items and how many they sold. So here you can see this is just testing. I bought many of my own things. We had one of our testers buy items, but you can see here, you'll see here if you buy your own stuff, you pay nothing, but if somebody else buys it, the vendor gets paid. So another thing I want to say is that we will not be selling scripts. What we're going to be doing is we will take a percentage of the sale of the affiliate textures. So no scripts. So the whole process is very, very different from what we did in the past. We also will manage this, and I'll explain how we manage this in a little bit. So if I go to new texture set and I go back to hoodies, I'm sorry, I have to re-enter this now, and I go to Zooby, hoodie, purple, heart. Now I want to enter the HUD display image UUID. So now I go into Second Life, and the HUD display image is this. So I actually right click this, say copy asset UUID. I then go back to the website and I paste it here. I then, let's say I set my minimum price to $250. I'm going to go into preview mode. So preview mode will mean that I can see this, but nobody else can. And that's very important because you as an affiliate want to see your textures on the baby before you sell them. So now we're going to need the two UUIDs for the body and the hood. And again, like I said earlier, those were the faces that I was discussing. So we need the body UUID and the hood. So let's get the hood first. So the hood looked like this. So let's go again, copy asset UUID. We go back to our website and we paste it here. And now we have to find the UUID of the body. And it's in a different folder, so just be a little bit patient here. Let me find it. I'm actually going to find it here. I'm actually going to find it this way. So this is it. And I go copy asset UUID. And then I go back to my website and I paste it here. And so now I go to submit. Now it says this texture is set to preview. You will see it in the HUD, but others will not. Set this texture to active to submit it to staff for approval. So approval, what does that mean? That means that our staff has to approve your textures. And this is really important because if we don't, other people may steal all your textures and put them out and start selling them, and all your hard work will go to waste. If there's some sort of approval process, we can stop that, or we can remove their textures if they're stealing from you. The other thing is if you take a texture and you put a Disney logo on it, and that's copyrighted by Disney, we can't allow that. So there has to be some sort of approval process, or if you put an inappropriate graphic on. Since this is a texture HUD that will be included with our baby, we need some sort of process to avoid any kind of exploitation. So anyway, you can see it. So let's go back now and let me go here and let me pop through the texture HUD. Now look, I can see this. So no one else can, but it appears in the HUD I have, and it will appear in the HUD you have. So anytime you make a texture and you set it to preview it will appear in your HUD. The really nice thing about that is that, number one, even though there's a price, if it's just for you, it's free, and you can apply it to your baby. So you can essentially make clothing for your own baby for free. If you want to sell the clothing for other people, you can sell them. So anyway, we can see it now in the baby, and we can set her to different positions so we can actually see what the texture looks like as she's laying down. I do want to say something else. So there is a little bit of stretching in the baby right between her legs slightly. Now, it's almost impossible to avoid stuff like that. My recommendation is to just not add a pattern here. The baby does extreme different animations, and you can see sometimes there is even stretching in avatar clothing. So we tried our best to eliminate the stretching, but there will be sometimes a little bit. So let's just tell her to sit again. And this really gives you a chance to sort of look at your texture while it's animating on the baby without everybody else seeing it. So once it's there and you can see it, and now let's go back to the website, and let's say we want to make the texture active. So if we click active and hit submit, what that means is this texture has been submitted and it's now waiting on approval from staff. So again, it won't be live to everybody you want to sell it to, but it will be waiting for us to approve it. Once we approve it, then everybody who gets this HUD, and it's a universal HUD that comes with the baby, everybody gets it, will be able to see your texture, and the price will be there, and they will buy it. Now again, Zoobies will take a cut of the sale. I'm not sure yet what that cut will be. Please don't ask. We're still determining that. But again, we won't be selling scripts, and we're going to be managing this entire experience and making sure that people don't steal from you. We're going to be making sure that your textures aren't being exploited in any way we can. Now, something may happen. Like maybe we don't catch something. Maybe someone puts something that looks very close to yours and we don't realize it. You can always contact us and we can always remove a texture. So we can't guarantee everything to be perfect, but we're going to do our best to make this experience for you better and help it overall. So anyway, if I go back to view by brand, once you provide us your store logo, it will appear in this list, in this grid. Now, we're not really going to show preference, including myself, as to who's on the first page or last page. What we're going to do is we have these filters, and the filters are either alphabetical or backwards alphabetical, the newest affiliates, and the most popular affiliates. So that way we don't show any kind of special treatment to a particular affiliate, but you as the user can determine which affiliates are new, what people like the most, and you can determine it that way. We thought that was the most fair approach to affiliates selling textures independently. I think that's it for now. I hope that's clear. If I'm leaving anything out or if an affiliate wants to message me personally, please do. This is also phase one. Remember, this is the very first baby, Animesh baby on the grid. All of this technology is new. This HUD is new. We are going to be making updates to this. This is just the beginning. So if we find any issues or if something can be done better, please know that we will do that. So imagine this is like 1.0 of a really comprehensive product that we're excited to develop further. One thing too, imagine if we can actually include a section where you can apply your meshes from the HUD. That would be really cool. We can't do it right now, but that's something we're considering in the future. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys, and that's it. So goodbye. I hope this was really informative for you affiliates people. Thanks. Bye bye.